title, my entitled family tried to steal my inheritance, so I let them destroy themselves without lifting a finger. Let me tell you how I went from being the quiet, reasonable one in my family to the villain in their story and the hero in mine. I, 31M, was raised in what people would call a tight-knit family. Except that's only true if tight-knit means suffocating, manipulative, and built entirely around my mom's golden child fantasy of my younger brother, Darren, 28M. Darren could do no wrong. Ever. Failed college 3 times? He's finding himself. Wrecked my dad's car? It wasn't his fault. Stole $800 from my grandma? He was borrowing it. Me? I got straight as, worked 2 jobs, paid rent at 18, and kept my head down. I was the good son, which in our family just meant the one we can ignore until we need something. And I should have seen it coming, what they were really after. My grandparents, dad's side, were the only 2 people in our family who treated me like a human being. They helped raise me while my parents were too busy dealing with Darren's struggles. They supported me emotionally, gave me life advice, even co-signed my first apartment lease. They also owned a beautiful house. Nothing extravagant, but it had land, a big porch, and a massive workshop in the back. It was their pride and joy. They built it from the ground up in the 70s, brick by brick. Before my grandfather passed away, he sat me down. I'll never forget what he said. When we're gone, the house is yours. You're the only one who actually gives a damn. I was 24 at the time. I didn't believe it would really happen. I mean, families share stuff, right? I figured it would be sold and split fairly. I was wrong. When my grandmother passed 4 years later, I found out they'd put in writing the house entirely to me. Not split, not shared, just mine, free and clear. That's when the vultures came out. 2 weeks after the funeral, my parents invited me over for a talk. I brought my girlfriend with me because something fell off. I walk in, and Darren is already sitting there, smiling like he just won the lottery. My mom cuts to the chase. We all think it would be best if you signed the house over to Darren. I laughed. I thought it was a joke. It wasn't. He's about to start a family. You're just renting with your girlfriend, and that house has enough space for kids. It makes sense for him to have it. I told him no. Immediately, my dad stepped in, all serious. This is what your grandmother would have wanted. I pulled out the will. No, this is what she wanted. Darren flipped, yelled, cursed, told me I was selfish, spoiled, and trying to punish him for being the favorite. My mom cried. My dad called me a disgrace. I left. Quiet. Calm. But something in me snapped. They wanted a villain? Fine. I become one. The next few months were pure psychological warfare. Family stopped inviting me to events. Relatives I hadn't heard from in years messaged me things like, "How could you do this to your brother?" I heard rumors that I manipulated my grandmother into giving me the house. And Darren? He showed up one night, drunk, and threw a rock through one of my windows. Cops were called. I didn't press charges. Why? Because I had a better idea. I started documenting everything. Texts, voicemails, social media posts from extended family dragging my name through the mud. I installed cameras, kept records, played the calm and distant role perfectly. Meanwhile, I quietly began renovating the house. New roof, updated plumbing, interior facelift. I told no one, but the real move? I created an LLC and transferred the house into it. Not in my name anymore. No longer family property. I also drafted a lease agreement with my girlfriend and had her sign on as a tenant under the LLC, just in case things got legal. Then I waited. 6 months later, Darren shows up again, this time with a baby on the way and a fiancée. He's all smiles. Tells me he's ready to bury the hatchet. I knew something was up. Turns out he'd racked up debt. Credit shot. No mortgage approval. But guess what he could do? Live rent-free in a house he thought should be his. He offered me $10,000 for the house. Market value? $480,000. I told him I'd think about it. That weekend, I put the house on the market, but not publicly. I sold it privately to a real estate investor I knew through a friend. Someone who flips homes and rents them out at a premium. The house sold for $515,000. Cash. Darren found out from my cousin and lost his mind. He showed up at my apartment screaming, threatening to sue, crying that I'd robbed him of his future. And I just smiled. You wanted me to give you the house. I gave you the lesson instead. My parents disown me. Relatives still call me the traitor. But guess what? Darren now pays $2,300 per month in rent to live in a flipped version of my house, 2 streets over. He doesn't know I'm friends with his landlord. He doesn't know I'm the one who recommended the rent price. And he definitely doesn't know that the lease is locked for 5 years, with a 7% increase every 12 months. Me, I bought a new house, debt-free, under another LLC. Quiet neighborhood. No drama. My girlfriend's now my wife. And every now and then, when I drive past that old place, I smile knowing they thought they were playing chess. But I was playing cold, calculated 4D revenge. Update, Part 2. It had been months since I sold the house out from under Darren, and I thought the storm had passed. I was wrong. One chilly Monday morning, I open my mailbox and see a thick envelope. Legal papers. Darren was suing me. The claim? Intentional infliction of emotional distress, fraudulent property transfer, and undue influence on our late grandmother. You read that right. He was accusing me of manipulating our grandma into giving me the house and selling it just to hurt him emotionally. He was demanding $250,000 in damages, the return of the house that I no longer owned, and a public apology. I laughed so hard I nearly choked on my coffee. But I wasn't about to take this lightly. Lucky for me, I kept everything. The signed will, video of my grandma talking about the house before she passed, voice recordings of my mom admitting they wanted the house for Darren, security footage of Darren vandalizing my window. Even better, I had already transferred the property into an LLC, and the LLC had sold it, which meant Darren was trying to sue me personally for a house I technically never sold. My lawyer, a beast of a woman named Morgan, looked at the papers, then looked at me and said, "Oh, we're going to ruin him." Darren showed up to court with a GoFundMe lawyer, not joking, and brought printed screenshots of Facebook posts as evidence. Morgan ripped his case apart like tissue paper. When the judge asked him how I had manipulated our grandmother, he literally said, he was always nice to her. He just tricked her into loving him more. The courtroom laughed. The judge dismissed the case with prejudice, meaning he couldn't refile. Then he looked directly at Darren and said, "You wasted this court's time. Consider yourself lucky you're not paying his legal fees." Though I did end up suing him after for defamation, but we'll get to that. Update, Part 3. After the court disaster, Darren went quiet. But guess who popped back in my life like clockwork? My parents. They showed up at my house unannounced, smiling like nothing happened. My mom hugged me without asking, crying about how family is forever and how they miss their son. My dad, he just said, "We all make mistakes. Let's move on." Oh, now it's mistakes. When I reminded them, they disowned me, called me a thief, and took Darren's side in court. My mom said, "We were just under a lot of stress." You know how persuasive your brother can be. They want it back in, because I was now the only kid with money, a home, and a stable life. I told them I'd think about it. 1 week later, I invited them over for dinner. Set the table, lit candles, played soft music. My wife made pasta. It felt cozy. We talked, laughed a bit. Old memories. Then, I brought out a stack of papers. These are the texts and voicemails you sent me when you thought I was the enemy. Here's where you said I'd rot alone. Here's where you told me you hoped Grandma left me with nothing. My dad tried to speak. I held up a hand. Then I pulled out a printed copy of the lawsuit Darren filed and the court's dismissal order. This is what your golden boy did. And this is the moment I knew I'd never be part of this family again. My mom was shaking. My dad looked like he aged 10 years on the spot. "We're done," I said. "This dinner? It's closure. Don't contact me again." I stood up. They didn't move, just sat there in silence. So I walked out, left them in the dining room. My wife followed. We locked the door behind us. They haven't been back since. Darren now lives paycheck to paycheck. My parents live in a crumbling condo and post cringy family quotes on Facebook about forgiveness. Me? I bought a second rental property. My wife's pregnant, and I sleep better knowing. They try to bury me, but they forgot. I was the one holding the shovel. Update, Part 3. So hey guys, it has been a few months, and my brother Darren has made another dramatic issue. So here it is. I thought Darren's lawsuit was rock bottom. I was wrong. This man had one more pathetic, insane card to play, and he played it loud and public, thinking he'd manipulate me one last time. Spoiler, he played himself. 2 months after the lawsuit, life was quiet, peaceful. Wife's pregnancy was going smoothly, business was growing, and Darren was, according to his Instagram stories, grinding and rebuilding, while clearly living in a different Airbnb every other week. Then one day, I get a group text. It's from my cousin Lexi, who I haven't talked to in over a year. "Hey, is it true Darren has cancer?" Excuse me? What? Within 48 hours, my extended family group chat which I'd been removed from, was blowing up. Posts like, "Prayers for Darren as he battles stage 3 lymphoma, pensive face, folded hands. We don't know how long he has left, but family should come together now more than ever." Then this link pops up. GoFundMe. Help Darren get life-saving treatment. Goal, $100,000. Written by Mom and Dad. They used old pictures of Darren looking frail from when he was just hungover, a stock photo of an 4 drip, and vague descriptions of experimental treatment not covered by insurance. I couldn't believe it, but it gets so much worse. Lexi, our cousin, sends me a voice message privately. She was suspicious. Something fell off, so she did a little digging. And guess what? Darren wasn't sick at all. He wasn't even registered with any of the hospitals listed in the GoFundMe. In fact, he had recently applied for a personal loan and got denied. And that same day, the fundraiser popped up. He was using cancer as a money grab. And not just from strangers, from family. So, I pulled a little play from my own book. I contacted GoFundMe and reported the campaign as fraudulent. Sent them evidence. Lexi helped. It was shut down in less than 48 hours. But I wasn't done. I compiled screenshots of Darren bragging about finessing a little bag on Discord, video of him out clubbing the night he was supposedly getting chemo, proof from a hospital that no patient by his name was ever treated, a copy of his loan application. Lexi worked at the bank. SHHH winking face. Then I posted a massive exposed thread on Facebook, full of receipts, tagging every relative who donated or shared the GoFundMe. Title? Just in case anyone wants their donation refunded before Darren scams someone else. Chaos. Family group chat? Exploded. Aunts and uncles demanding refunds. My parents? Vanished off Facebook for weeks. And Darren? He went full meltdown. Tried posting a video crying in his car, saying I was jealous of his journey, then blamed stress for causing symptoms that mimic cancer. He deleted it 20 minutes later, but not before I saved it. GoFundMe issued refund notices to every single donor. His account was banned permanently. And just to twist the knife, Lexi made a meme page and turned it into a whole mini viral saga. Hashtag Darren doesn't have cancer was trending in our city for a full weekend. Darren moved 2 states away, works under the table at a vape shop, still posts like he's winning. He has no idea that his landlord is one of my wife's distant cousins. And every time rent's late, I get a text. My parents haven't spoken to me since. But according to Lexi, they asked her for money. She sent them $5 in Monopoly bills. So now for updates about me, well, my daughter was born last week. She's healthy, strong, beautiful. And one day, when she's old enough to ask about family, I'll tell her about the man who faked cancer for cash and the uncle who made sure the world saw exactly who he was. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more videos like this.